Final score, disappointingly, Cincinnati 24, Pittsburgh 10.
Hey, let's not sugarcoat it, man. We played poorly today. You know, we didn't deserve to win, and that's not taking anything away from the Bengals.
Rodgers fires, caught.
You got to go.
To try to win it. And the kick is good to win the game.
Man, we're going to continually roll this ball out this week, man. We're going to work with an edge.
There's not this one big glaring thing. It's just a little thing here, little thing there, which I think is why we can be encouraged as an offense.
Hall of Fame quarterback, and he's done it at a high level. We got to make sure we're ready on all fields.
It's a great challenge, man. This is a really sound, a really good defense. They're physical. They are so disruptive. Watched all their sacks from the last 2 years, and I think I got nightmares from it.
Here we go. This pass is caught, and that's a touchdown. That's the way to work. Come on. He's hit that sack. The Steelers win the football game. Let's go. Come get it. You know what it is.
This one is in the history books.
Here we go.
Welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Hi, and welcome to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. I'm Missy Matthews. Slow starts have hampered the Steelers in the early portions of the 2021 season. The Steelers offense struggled against the Cincinnati Bengals last Sunday until a 15-play scoring drive with just over a minute left in the first half. For more on the Steelers' first AFC North loss, let's head over to Bob Pompeani, who's with Coach Tomlin. Bob?
Missy, thanks very much. Steelers coming off a couple of home losses, and they're hurtful because they're AFC teams. Coach Tomlin, let's talk about, first of all, what went wrong, and how do you fix what went wrong in those two games?
Man, a lot of things went wrong. But it comes back to continually working and remaining focused in the midst of the storm and getting better day to day. And so that's what our week has been about, focusing on us. Yes, we're playing Green Bay this week, and that's going to be a big challenge, but we focused on us, what it is that we do, the quality in which we do it, who we're doing it with. And we just got to continue to stack quality days with that thought process in mind. And knowing at the end of each week that there's going to be a test, the test of that growth, and that test is determining wins and losses. And so we understand that. We're getting ready to play Green Bay. The focus is on beating Green Bay, but largely our focus has to be bigger picture than that. We got to get better every day, not only for this battle, but the subsequent battles that lie ahead. We don't like where we are. I'm sure there's several teams or a lot of teams that don't like where they are. But more importantly, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it day to day schematically? What are you going to do about it day to day in terms of growth and development from a skill standpoint relative to the positions that the men play? What are you going to do about it in terms of gaining knowledge and expertise and experience relative to the positions that they play? And so, that's what we're working on. Two of those things involve the players. One of those things involve the coaching staff, the schematics. We got to continually get better in terms of putting these guys in position. And then the other two, technical expertise and knowledge, we got to grow continually.
Well, I know you've talked about your young offensive line, and I guess growth and development really focus on those guys, and you remain optimistic about what they can do, yet at the same time they're going through a lot right now, and we saw last week 4 sacks of Ben Roethlisberger, 21 pressures and 7 hits. Obviously that can't go on. What is it about this group that you like and you still believe can develop into the cohesive unit that you need?
First of all, they have the talent to do it. I'm talking about each man individually in terms of pedigree. They have the talent to do it. In some instances, they have to gain experience and knowledge that comes with playing. In other instances, we got to collectively gain cohesion. And that's an element of it. And so we're going to continue to work. We feel good about the group is for the reasons that I outlined, and we understand that it's a process. And, we've absorbed some negativity more than we would like, obviously, but some of that has been due to game circumstances. And so we're going to work our tails off to minimize some of them game circumstances to aid us in that development as well.
Part of that is mistakes on penalties, and I don't think I've ever seen where all 5 starters on an offensive line got penalized during the course of a game. So how do you eliminate those mistakes? You coach it, I know, all week long, and yet they still happen in games.
Penalties are very much technical, and that's what I'm talking about in terms of skill development relative to your position. You know, you got to work to keep your hands inside as you block people, and that is a very technical thing. You can get better at it just like swinging a golf club. That's why people go to the driving range to develop their golf game. Man, we practice every day to develop skills relative to the positions that we play. We got to be cleaner on the offensive line, and that requires continual work and a focus on playing and practicing clean. And so that's what I mean when I'm talking about some of the skill development things.
Well, for the record, I go to the driving range and it doesn't help, so I better just stop going to the driving range. Ben Roethlisberger is a Hall of Fame quarterback, we know that, but a big part of his success, Mike, over the years is his ability to extend plays. It seems like that has diminished, which you would expect, I guess, with age and someone who's been around as long. How do you work, to get that back? Can you get it back, and do you have to make, play calling adjustments given the lack of his ability to get outside and make extension of plays?
I think we work with the skill set that each player has at the present time, and the player works to play to their strengths, whatever they may be at the present time. And so sometimes, his profile may be different today than it was in 2007, but all of our profiles are different. I know mine is. And so, we don't make plans based on historical information. We make plans on present day information. And so does a player in terms of working to play to their strengths and minimize their weaknesses. And so, yes, extending plays has been a large part of his resume for the better part of his career. But he's not in position to do it as much as he has in the past, and he understands that, and we understand that. And so I don't think it's really that big a discussion, to be quite honest with you. It's just the evolution of players and the evolution of the game, and all of us deal with it.
Well, Green Bay is up next, and it's a worry because Aaron Rodgers seems to be playing well. We're going to talk about the Packers, the next assignment for the Pittsburgh Steelers in a legendary place like Lambeau Field. That's coming up shortly right here on our show. In the meantime, let's head back to Missy Matthews.
Thanks so much, Bob. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers certainly seemed to be heating up in his last-minute heroics against the 49ers. And, of course, getting pressure on the reigning league MVP would seem to be a key to success for the Steelers to get back to their winning ways. Up next, Bob gets a scouting report from Coach Tomlin on the Green Bay Packers. Don't go anywhere. The 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show will be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show. Are you 84 Lumber material? Visit 84lumber.com/careers to learn more.
Well, this Week 4 matchup features two of the NFL's winningest franchises. The Packers are second in wins and first in playoff seasons, while the Steelers are tied for first in Super Bowl wins, and both teams are tied for second in playoff wins. At 4:25 tomorrow, none of this will matter as both teams are just looking for their next win. For more on the game, let's head back over to Bob and Coach.
All right, Missy, thanks very much. Green Bay Packers, always a great place to play at Lambeau Field. Coach, you haven't had that many opportunities over there. I know there was a preseason game in years past, a couple of here and there, but what's it like going to that venue given the history of that place?
Just as somebody that appreciates football and football history, I've always enjoyed my trips to Lambeau Field. I broke into the league years ago, man, in Tampa in the old black and blue division, and then I coordinated with the Vikings, and so I'm somewhat familiar with Lambeau, probably more so than a lot of members of our organization. Man, it is a hallowed facility. I just appreciative of the history when I walked that tunnel, man, to take that field, and I'm sure our guys will feel that as well. If you love football, if you love football history, you're fired up about playing in that venue.
And this is a team that has come off a couple of wins after a bad start to their season. Aaron Rodgers was taken out of the first game, but where he's responded. What is it about him that makes him what he is? And especially coming off that game against San Francisco where he put together a 37-second drive to win the game to set up Mason Crosby.
To be point blank, it's about his football talents or his pedigree, his ability to throw the ball, his arm strength, his accuracy, his ability to release the ball from a variety of body positions, his ability to throw on the move with pinpoint accuracy, etc., coupled with his ridiculous football intellect. Very rarely do you see him doing anything not in a fluid manner. Very rarely do you see him frantic or caught off guard. He makes quick and fluid decisions really in all circumstances. And it speaks to his intellect, but it also speaks to his experience, man. He's been on the job for some time and is in complete command of what they do offensively.
And it seems like he has this unbelievable relationship with Devontae Adams. That's got to be one of your top targets over there. And I saw last week they were giving him the ball as quickly as possible, you know, almost at the line of scrimmage and taking advantage of his ability to make plays. How do you limit his impact in this game?
Man, he's such a quality receiver, and his relationship is what you mentioned with Aaron Rodgers, that, you know, eliminating him is a non-thing, is a waste of time. Minimizing him is something that you strive to do, particularly in the weighty moments. And so, you know, we're going to try to do some things schematically, obviously, but every week everybody does. When you have a guy on top of his game that's in a relationship with the quarterback the way that those two are, you know, I think back to years ago when we had Ben and Antonio Brown. And yes, we saw a myriad of things week in and week out that people did to slow that connection down. But for those of us that were in stadiums and followed the Steelers, you realize that pretty much was a fruitless endeavor a lot of the times. And so the same can be said for this tandem. You better be careful about working to minimize them, because if you're working too hard, you're doing it at a cost. In other areas, you acknowledge they're good, but you just work to minimize their impact probably in those weighty moments.
And they complement that pass game with Jones, who's very effective in the run game. Earlier this year, you know, 4 touchdowns in a game. He's a guy who seems to be sneaky good, and he can hit holes even when some of the holes aren't even available, it looks like.
You know, I don't know if he's sneaky good. I just think he's good, man. He's good in the running game. He's good in the passing game. I've been very familiar with him all the way back to his days at UTEP, man. Sean Kugler, our old offensive line coach, is a UTEP graduate. He left here to take that job at UTEP. And, you know, he and I were in frequent contact over the years, and he always talked about Jones, even at a very young age. He knew instantly the quality of player that he was. And so I was not surprised when that guy came into the league and have done some of the things that he's done and displayed the talent that he has.
They have a defense that has had some ups and downs, and I'm curious, how do you attack that defense? I saw, you know, last week you guys had Najee targeted quite a bit in the pass game. What do you do to try to get them in vulnerable positions so you can move the ball and have sustained drives? You
know, they've got quality players at every level. First and foremost, you work to minimize the impact of those quality players on the game. Alexander at corner is a top-notch corner, one of the top young corners in our game. They got a great safety tandem. The secondary is really strong. They provide an umbrella of defense. They basically keep a lid on it, and they hustle, and they're very fundamentally sound. I know their defensive coordinator well in Joe Barry, and I know that they're going to be multiple. They're going to be situational. They're going to be somewhat of a moving target, and so they do a lot of things. But in the state that we're in, and I can't you know, preface this enough, we better focus on what it is that we do and the quality in which we do it and what we're asking individuals to do within the function of what we do, because that's where it is for us. We gotta execute at a higher level. We gotta play cleaner football. We gotta play better than we have, and very little of that has anything to do with the Green Bay Packers.
2 legendary franchises go head-to-head tomorrow. You'll see it live on KDK. 425 is the kickoff. We got a full day of coverage before and after the game, and when we come back, we'll get some keys to the game from head coach Mike Tomlin. Right now, let's send it back to Missy.
Thanks, Bob. The last time the Steelers played at Lambeau Field was in 2013, and they beat the Packers 38-31. Still to come here on the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show, Merril Hoge scouts Green Bay's offense for us in this week's Playbook. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the 84 Lumber Mike Tomlin Show.
Since the 2004 season, Ben Roethlisberger and Aaron Rodgers have combined for over 113,000 passing yards and 817 touchdowns. Tomorrow, they'll go head-to-head for the first time since Super Bowl 45, which was 11 seasons ago, and only the 3rd time in their careers. Merril Hoge is in his Factor-Back studio to break down Green Bay's offense in this week's Playbook.
This week, we're going to take a look at the Green Bay Packer offense and look at their passing game and their running game. Some things you're going to see on Sunday and things that the Packers do and do very well. Let's start with the passing game. Because you have Aaron Rodgers, you're always trying to create explosive plays, and you'll do it in unconventional ways. Here's a great example. Usually, when you're in an empty formation, you get rid of the ball very quickly. Now, they're in an empty formation. You got your back here, receiver, tight end. Nobody is in the backfield with Aaron Rodgers. He's all by himself. So let's go first of all to what they do route-wise to attack it. When they snap the ball, because Aaron Rodgers has time because of the protection, and we'll get to that in a second, they now can use deeper routes to attack the coverage. So let's understand what's coverage. There's a quarters coverage. Everybody's responsible for a quarter of the field. So they attack that coverage with their route concepts. Their best wide receiver curls it up right here. What does that do? That pulls the safety out of this area of the field. That leaves Scantling one-on-one with this safety to run a post. The only way you can do this is if you have time. And because they have such good protection here, Aaron Rodgers can just flip his wrist and you got an explosive play. Most of the times, these are quick throws when you're in empty. But if you go to the end zone, this is why they can throw it down the field. Remember this receiver right here who's a running back? He's gonna be a chipper. The tight end, he's gonna be a chipper. So you basically have 7 people. They're gonna block, and the 49ers are only gonna bring 3 people. So you got 7 to block 3. That's what allows Aaron Rodgers to have the time to throw it down the field. Because he has time, he flips his wrist, and you got an explosive play in the passing game. The Steelers are gonna see these type of concepts in the passing game somehow, some way. They're also going to see stuff in the running game. Now, in the running game is a little different. The passing game, you might see it once or twice. The run I'm about to show you, you're probably gonna see it anywhere from 6 to 12 times in a game because the Packers run it very well. It's a very simple run, but it is a power run. And a power run is when you get two guys on one and you try to get movement. It's really a gut play. The runner really has to be patient with this, that's why they do such a good job. So let's look at the concept of it. They try to get doubles right here on the defensive line. So you got 2-on-1. Now the runner has a responsibility to hug the double teams. The reason he's doing that and reading this, he's trying to influence these linebackers one way or the other. Once he does that, then one of these guys come off to make that block. So let's see how they execute it. At the snap of the ball, the first thing that you notice right off the bat, they win right here. Look at this double team. They get great movement here. The linebacker has committed here. So that really makes it easy on this offensive lineman to come off here. Jones, perfect job of pressing the hole and then getting to the backside. He runs this extremely well. He's patient and he's disciplined. From the end zone, you can see how good they are at this. Let's go back to the double and how he's looking at it. Imagine you be the runner right here. You want to press the hole. You want to hug these double teams. Now his path will bring the linebacker over, but because they get great movement, this really helps the run. You see that movement right there? Beautiful job there. Well, that brings that linebacker over here because your runner has pressed the hole here, and that makes it easy. This offensive lineman comes off and makes a block there. Back cuts it back here in what we call a canali. So the way they run the football, you're gonna see this a lot. The passing game we showed you, they're gonna try to create explosive plays. If the defense can manage this and hold it at bay, they'll have done their job and have a better chance of winning on Sunday against the Green Bay Packers.
And to see more of Merril's playbooks, you could head to Steelers.com or the team's official YouTube page. Well, the Steelers are sitting now at 1-2, looking to get to 500 with a win at Lambeau. Let's check in one final time with Bob Pompeani to get Coach Tomlin's keys to the game, presented by your neighborhood Ford store.
All right, Missy, thanks very much. Now it's time for Coach Tomlin's takes on what lies ahead. It's a tough place to play. First of all, Coach, 425 game times. I know you have a variety of game times. Does it matter when you play? Do you prefer one over the other?
No, I don't have preferences personally. I find ways. I've been on the job so long. I find ways to make good use of the time, whatever it may be. 1 o'clock, 4:30 prime time. You're in this thing long enough, you really get comfortable with all of that. So It's more about how we utilize the time.
So for the Steelers to be effective offensively against the Packers at Lambeau, what has to happen?
You know, we got to take care of the football. It's about winning the game for us. We're less concerned about style points. The significant component of the last 2 games is we've lost the turnover battle. We got to do a better job of taking care of the football. We didn't move the ball very fluidly, particularly at the early goings in Buffalo, but we didn't turn the ball over. And that kept us within striking distance, and that's important in Lambeau. It's important for a lot of reasons, man. We got to protect our defense and keep them off the short field. We got to play better defense in them circumstances. We turned the ball over twice last week, and we gave up subsequent touchdowns. We're capable of more than that. We've been capable of more than that in the past. We got to hold people to field goals in those situational circumstances. But we also better acknowledge that we're going to play Aaron Rodgers in his venue, and turning the ball over is something that doesn't happen for the Green Bay Packers and doesn't happen particularly in that venue. I think they only turned the ball over 9 times as a football team in 2020. They've only turned the ball over, I think, 3 times as a football team this year. All of them happen to be in the New Orleans game. And so that gives you a snapshot of how critical that element of play has been for us in recent weeks, and has been for them in recent weeks. So it kind of starts there for me and for us. We got to do a better job of taking care of the ball. We got to do whatever we can to do to get the ball. And likewise on defense, if we happen to be on the short field, we got to work our tails off to get out of those circumstances with a field goal.
One final thing, you had a lot of passes last week. That seems to be the trend, how it's going. What do you do to get more balance, specifically the run game, to make it more effective, to take some of the pressure off the pass game?
Hey, don't be down 24-7. You know, midway of the third. That's always a good place to start.
All right. Coach, appreciate the time as always. Thanks for doing it. We'll see you again next week. In the meantime, it is the Steelers and Packers coming up tomorrow, 4:25 on KDKA. And that's going to do it for our program tonight. Thanks to Missy Matthews and for head coach Mike Tomlin. I'm Bob Pompeani. Have a great Steelers weekend, and we'll see you next week.
What's up, Steeler Nation? It's Terrell Edmonds. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers official YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on everything going on in the Steel City. Thanks for being the best fans of football, and here we go.